The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Academic Consortium buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from 47 different species gathered for the most prestigious intellectual competition in known space. The Zenith Logic Challenge had stumped civilizations for over 3 centuries, with no being ever successfully completing the infamous paradox of the infinite mirrors. Liza Chen adjusted her simple Earth-issued uniform, feeling distinctly out of place among the towering Altarian scholars with their crystalline thought processors, the multi-brained vegan collective minds, and the ancient silicon-based Kepler, entities whose computational power dwarfed most planetary supercomputers. As the sole human representative, she drew curious stares and more than a few dismissive clicks from species who considered her kind, barely evolved primates. "Attention, contestants," announced Proctor Zephyr 9, a flowing energy being whose voice resonated through dimensional frequencies. "The paradox of the infinite mirrors awaits. You have been provided with the standard neural interfaces. The puzzle has defeated 12,847 attempts across 312 years. The probability matrices suggest another failure rate of 99.97%. James Rodriguez, Liza's teammate and the only other human present, leaned over from his position in the observation deck. "No pressure there," he whispered through their comlink, earning a small smile from Liza. The puzzle materialized in the center of the hall, a swirling, multi-dimensional construct that seemed to fold reality in on itself. Participants were required to navigate through 17 layers of recursive logical paradoxes, each more complex than the last, while accounting for quantum probability fluctuations and temporal causality loops. One by one, the greatest minds in the galaxy attempted the challenge. The Altarians' crystalline processors cracked under the strain of the 7th paradox. The vegan collective minds, capable of processing thousands of simultaneous thought streams, became locked in recursive loops at layer 12. Even the ancient Kepler entities with their million-year-old wisdom and computational matrices that could simulate entire star systems failed to penetrate beyond the 14th layer. Hours passed. Failures mounted. The air grew thick with frustration and the acrid smell of overheated neural processors. "Perhaps," suggested Counselor Vextar, a 6-armed being from the Rigel system, "this puzzle is indeed impossible. Our ancestors may have created something beyond even their own comprehension." That's when Proctor Zephyr 9 began the mandatory roll call, a bureaucratic requirement to confirm all participants were still present and mentally stable after the grueling attempts. Altarian delegation, present. Vegan Collective Prime, present. Kepler Entity 779, present. Human delegation, present. Liza responded automatically, her mind elsewhere. But something in that simple exchange triggered a cascade of thoughts. Roll call, present. The concept of presence itself. She had been thinking about the puzzle all wrong, trying to solve it like everyone else, as a mathematical construct to be conquered through pure computational force. "James," she whispered urgently into her comm, "what if it's not about solving the paradoxes at all?" "What do you mean?" Roll call. We confirm presence, not absence. What if the puzzle isn't asking us to resolve the paradoxes but to accept them, to be present with them? The other contestants had been trying to eliminate the contradictions, to find the one correct path through the logical maze. But what if the maze itself was the answer? What if the infinite mirrors weren't reflecting solutions, but reflecting the observer? Liza stood up, ignoring the surprised murmurs from the gallery. She approached the swirling construct not as a problem to be solved, but as a conversation to be had. Instead of trying to force her way through the first paradox, a classic Zeno's paradox involving infinite regression, she simply acknowledged it. "I see you," she said quietly. "You exist. You don't need to be resolved to be real." The paradox responded, not by disappearing, but by revealing its nature. It wasn't a barrier. It was a mirror reflecting her own assumptions about logic itself. Layer by layer, Liza moved through the construct, not solving but accepting. Where others had seen obstacles, she saw teachers, Where they had seen contradictions, she saw complementarities. The human concept of both and, rather than either-or thinking, proved to be exactly what the ancient puzzle creators had been testing for. Impossible, breathed Counselor Vextar as Liza reached the 17th and final layer. But it wasn't impossible. It was deeply, profoundly human. The ability to hold contradictions without breaking, to find meaning in paradox, to be present with uncertainty. These were uniquely human traits that no amount of computational power could replicate. As Liza touched the core of the construct, it dissolved into pure light, and a message appeared in the ancient language of its creators. The greatest logic is knowing when logic is not enough. The hall erupted in stunned silence. Then gradually, building applause. James was grinning so widely his face hurt. "How did you know?" he asked as Liza returned to her seat. "I didn't," she replied simply. "That's exactly why it worked." In the aftermath, as representatives from across the galaxy approached to understand the human solution, Liza reflected on the irony. Humanity had always been told they were too emotional, too illogical, too willing to embrace contradiction. Today, those very weaknesses had proven to be their greatest strength. The impossible puzzle hadn't needed solving, it had needed understanding. And sometimes understanding required not the fastest processor or the most advanced logic circuits, but simply the wisdom to be present with mystery itself. As they prepared to leave the grand assembly, James chuckled. "I guess humans really are something special after all." Liza nodded, watching the swirling galaxies through the viewport. "We always were. We just needed the right puzzle to prove it."